we have so much new stuff. Like, actually so much materials, Hog Rider, guards. Yeah, there's new stuff to guards, and a lot of cool new guns, which you never expected to come to Fortnite Creative. Jumping in first with the new guns that we have in Creative, and obviously we have the new guns from BR all now in Creative, and they all have their special rarities and like their mythics. We have so many of them, but you notice something. Yeah, the pulse rifle is still here. No, obviously we have the grapple glove now in the game, and it is as beautiful as you could imagine it. It works exactly like in BR, and now you can finally make Spider-Man remix in Fortnite Creative with an actual grapple glove that is, almost the Spider-Man mythic. It is absolutely cool, it's super fun to play with, and these 4 new items alone would be an amazing update, but this actually is not the best of this update yet. Well, you probably already wondered why the guns are standing still and why they look like that. There is a new device in the game which is called the item placer, which allows you to place down items such as weapons and consumables in a realistic manner, and this is kind of amazing because it kind of allows you to create things like this, where you could have like a rarity, you can turn off the rarity. There's actually an option to turn off rarities. If you look in here, you can turn off the full rarities and stuff like that. You can pick them up. It is basically like an item spawner, but without the weird spinning around and the weird effects to it. And you can create stuff like this, for example, where you can put guns on the walls, and if we quickly start the game, you can see that we can pick them up from the walls, and then they go into your inventory. Usually all of the exotics also take the skin width on the wall, which is really cool, but not the Shadow Midas drum gun, which is kind of interesting. So you can see that right here, Shadow Midas drum gun doesn't really have the skin in the game. It still has the skin, but not on the wall, which is kind of unfortunate, but maybe that's just a bug. But as I said earlier, you can not only drop in weapons, you can also drop in consumables and any kind of other stuff. So for example, if we just want to drop in, like for example, heavy ammo in here, we can actually also do that. So all we have to do is just put it in here, and it would drop down, and now it is like basically like this item, and you can turn it around. And it's really also very cool for like just using it as a prop. So you don't really have to use it as a pickup thing, but you can also use it very nice for props now. I think zombie map makers will absolutely love this update. So let's move on to the second biggest thing, which is now in Fortnite Creative, which is you can now hire guards. Yes, there's now an option, and it is all the way down here, and you can see can be hired, yes or no. By default, this is set to no. So if you haven't had it yet, you need to set this to yes. And then when you start the game, you can see that you can basically go up to him, press your command button, whatever button that you use for that, and you can hire the person. You cannot really have like kind of tasks like the other ones have, but maybe that comes in the future as well. But you can hire them, and then he's your guard. One thing which is very important though is that you need to set this to either team 1 or like whatever team you are currently in, or you need to set this to team neutral. Otherwise, you can actually not hire the guard. He would just start shooting you, and that is obviously not what you want when you hire someone. Moving on to the favorite part of this update, you can now ride the animals. Same thing again, it is disabled by default, so you need to enable it, and then you have a lot of options for starting energy, whatever, consuming cost. These actually work the same way as in BR, so you either need to jump on them or you need to tame them. It is just amazing, and I can already see a lot of Hog Rider / Clash Royale, Clash of Clans maps coming with this new feature. Alright, so this next one is also equally as cool, and as you can see, we have the new physics tree and boulder here, and there's actually new options in here, which now allows you to actually release the lock, so you can actually have it on a channel. There's a lot of other options like time 3 respawn, I think that was not in there as well. So there's a lot of other options in here. Notice not the new boulder or the other one that is also in BR, is still the old one here, but obviously this one has the same release options as the other one, which is absolutely amazing. So you might wonder why there's 20 creature spawners here. Yes, we actually got an update to the creature spawners and the henchman devices. You can now place more than 20. As you can see, if we just select one of here, I can go and have them stack for whatever long. I haven't tested out how long this actually works. On the website it says unlimited, which I highly doubt, but it could be possible. So definitely let me know how many you can actually place down of these. But for the henchmen and the zombie or creature spawners, you can now place unlimited, which is absolutely amazing. And yet again, for the zombie map makers, this is a beautiful thing. Moving on to some gallery stuff, there's new textures for the primitive shapes. And as you can see, we have a bunch of new marble options. There's gray marble, black marble, and all sorts of marbles. We have also a normal street one here, a concrete one. We have bricks and we have wood, which is a really, really amazing update. I love the normal primitive shapes, but there's some, sometimes you just need a very custom shape and a very custom thing. and having these now finally is really helpful. We also have 2 new shapes in the primitive shapes, and there's a big block over here, and we now actually have 3 cubes, and we also have this plane, which sometimes is more helpful than just having like just a cube and having to scale it all the way down. So I think having these 2, especially the big one here, can be really helpful for big scale maps. And for the last one, for the galleries, we also have a new kind of texture, I would say, to the glasses, and there's a few new shapes in the glass galleries. You can see these 3 over here, I think, are new, and as you can see, they look a little bit more like glass now. They don't, I mean, glass kind of looks different anyways, but I think they just made it so it looks a little bit more that you can see the glass, and it has a little bit more like glass shine, diamond shiny to it. And there's also new colors, as you can see. We have now the eternal one, which is, I think, the default one before. We also have the frosted one, which is, I would say, like maybe a frozen glass or something. And I think that's it. Yeah, we have these 2 new, and the old ones are basically, they all have like a little bit of revamp, I would say. I think they look a little bit better now, but if you still prefer the old one, I think the eternal one is the actual old one. And last but not least, there's a new option for the spawn pad selection. You can actually now have or choose between random and near teammates. That is the 2 options, which is kind of cool. I think, especially for like game modes where you need to spawn near teammates or on the spawn pads that are near teammates. This is really helpful, and a really cool quality of life update here. I'm not sure if there's any other thing and other hidden things. We obviously do an update on that if there is going to be some new secret things which I haven't discovered yet in this update. I almost forgot to mention this, but there's now actually buildable mountains, or the new terrain now actually has buildable options. You can actually find them. Not all of them are buildable, so you can actually see if you click on them, it says a buildable in the corner here. So you have to select, which is really cool. So if you're like into like creating zone wars and stuff like that, or just BR maps, this is a really cool thing, and something that should have been in the first place there. But as you can see on the old ones, it doesn't work, but you now have the buildable option, which is really cool. And apparently there's also Waterfall Gallery coming to the game, or it is in the game. I couldn't find it yet, but I would assume it's probably in a different update, because it probably like is a Waterfall Gallery. So that is a really amazing looking gallery, and this looks really cool. And while we speak of leaks, this one now looks pretty normal, besides that maybe there's 112 of 100 maps here. But if you scroll a little bit more down, you see something that is very interesting. And I might be wrong with my prediction that Creative 2.0 is longer away than next season, but yeah, this looks pretty interesting. Also, Hypex tweeted out that there's a new dice device coming for Creative, and upcoming Creative 2.0 cinematic sequence device and mesh animator device. So I'm not sure what this is about, if you have some insight on what is going on here, but apparently we also have already devices for Creative 2.0. So cinematic sequence device and mesh animator sounds amazing, and I cannot wait to actually play around with them. And I basically think there's something for everyone in there today, and like this update is just amazing. There's no like big, like no melee manager or no like crazy new device. All of the updates like kind of serve a very amazing purpose, and I'm really happy that we finally got a lot of this stuff, which is really some quality of life to Fortnite Creative, and some really fun stuff to play around with. So with that being said, I'm also probably going to stream today, so just play around with the update a little bit, and I will see you guys back in the next one. So, what's poppin'?